Hi everyone, welcome to Customs Breeze, where filling out your customs form is easy breezy and in the comfort of your own home. Today we're going to be concentrating on Indonesia. I'm going to be doing the ECD form, which is the Electronic Customs Declaration form, also known as the BC 2.2 form. So I've pulled up the form on this particular website, which is called the Indonesia Visitor Visa.com site. So it's Indonesia visitor VISITOR visa.com. And this is where I'm pulling up this ECD form. Okay, so I'm going to get right into the form, and then the other information that I want you to know, I'm going to leave that for the end. Also, I'm only doing the first section. As you can see here, we have three sections. We have 1, 2, and 3. The first section is what I'm only going to do for this video. The second and third section is for you to fill out because it has to do with putting in your credit card information for the fee of this form, also confirmation of all your information. That's stuff that you can do on your own. But for our purposes, for this video, we're only going to be dealing with section 1. Okay, so we're going to get right to it. So they're asking you for your surname. Your surname is your last name. So I put down Sue as the last name. And by the way, the information on this form, for me and for this video's purpose, is not true, but I just did it just to fill out the information so you know what to expect as you're filling out the form for yourself. Okay, so we have surname, last name, I put down Sue. Given name is your first name, and I put down Martha. Gender, I put down female, and then date of birth. And always be aware of how they format dates. And for this form, they're asking you for day first, month, and then year. Now, if you're from the United States, we're used to month, day, year in date formatting. So be aware of that. But the good thing is as you fill out this form, the way they have it is that you can't make a mistake because they only pull up the day first, and then they pull up the month, and then they only pull up the year. So you can't make that mistake. All right, so next, country of birth. The good thing here is that they have drop boxes. So you just scroll down, make your selection, and then it gets put into the box. Same thing goes for country of citizenship. They have a drop box. You make your selection, it gets put into the box. This is great so you don't have to type everything in. Same thing goes for profession. They have drop box. They have a choice, and then you select. Now, when you finish each section, let's say you finish the section, you normally would have a next box here on the bottom right-hand side. But because I filled out this entire form, there's no next for me. But there's a next for you. So you select, you hit next, and then it pulls up the next section. And this next section is passport details. So we have provide details of the passport that you will be using on this trip, on your travels. So country of passport, and I selected United States, and once again, you have a drop box where you can make a selection. Next is passport number, and take note of what they've written down here. They say enter the passport number exactly as it appears on the biographic information page. Please pay particular attention to the letter O and the number 0 and the letter L and the number 1. Now you'll be surprised that sometimes when you're typing really quickly and you're not thinking, you'll mistake as far as like the letter O and the number 0, you'll mistake those for one or the other, and not realize it until much later. And the same thing goes for the L and the 1. So they're giving you a heads up of those kinds of mistakes because they must be common mistakes for them to mention that. So be aware of that and make sure that you don't make that mistake. Okay, so passport issue date is the next thing we're looking at. And again, take note of the format, day, month, year. Passport expiry date, when does your passport expire? When does it end? And it's once again, it's day, month, year is the format. Then you're going to hit next, but you don't have next here, but in your form you will. And then it pulls you up into the next section, which is the contact details section. And here's where you put your email and you confirm your email. So email address, confirm email address. Then the next line will be mobile cell phone. And here they're asking for the code first and then your mobile phone. So I'm here in the United States, so it would be 1. But the good thing is they have a Dropbox. And so if you're not familiar or if you're not sure, then all you need to do is hit the arrow and then you search which country you're from and then you put in the code. And all you don't even have to put in the code. All you do is you make the selection and they'll put it in for you. Okay, so you've done that. Now you put in your cell number and then you go on to the next section. So the next section is the travels details. And here is where you have to have the information of your accommodations right next to you so that you can fill it in on this form. Okay, so they're asking for the address of accommodation, fill it in. Then they're asking for port of arrival in Indonesia. So what airport will you be at? And I put Bali, but it could be whatever's on this list. Okay. Again, you have you scroll down, and here's where you have to type in the flight number, and then off to the right hand side of that, you have intended date of entry. And again, be aware of the formatting of the date. Then the next line, you have number of accompanied items of luggage. And this is luggage that's either checked or carried on. So it can be one or both, but whatever the case may be, you have to let them know how many you have. Okay. So if you're just checking on luggage, then and say you have 5 luggages that you're checking in, then you have to declare the 5. Okay, and if carry on you have 2 or 3 or 4, you have to say whether you have 2, 3, or 4. Okay, so next is the number of unaccompanied items of luggage. So this is luggage that is by freight. Okay, so we're going to go to the next line. And as you can see, the form is very short. There's not a lot that they're asking of you on this form. You don't have to do a lot of filling out. So the last question for our purposes on this form is this: are you traveling with minors? And yes or no. And that's it. Now all you need to do is a declaration of applicant. And there's 2 areas that you have to check off. And the first one is I declare that the information I've given in this application is truthful, complete, and correct. Check. And then the next section that you check is I have read and understood the terms and conditions and the privacy policy. And you check that too. But as a heads up, and a lot of us do this, we see stuff like this and we're on remote control and we just check and we just move on to the next thing. But you really should take the time to click on the hyperlinks and look at the terms and conditions and the privacy policy. Do yourself that favor so you become more informed. Okay? So after you finish this, you press continue and then you go on to the second area that you have to fill out, which is your credit card information and also a review of the information that you have. And then, of course, the third one, which is you review, you submit, and then you have the receive approval confirmation, which they'll send through your email, and then you have to have that, and then you go and you have that scanned or approved by a customs official. Okay, but for this video, we're not going to worry about 2 and 3. We're only concerned about 1, which is just this form. So there are a few things that I do want to tell you before we leave, and that is this form is mandatory. You have to fill out this form, whether you are a citizen or a visitor. It's mandatory. Everyone has to fill this out. And it's something that you have to fill out every time you go to Indonesia. It's not something that, you fill out once and then you fill it out again in 5 years. No. Every time you enter Indonesia, this has to be done. Okay. And that's pretty much it. The other thing that I need to remind you of is that you need to fill this out 3 days before you arrive. It's something that a lot of countries are doing this, by the way, where they make you fill out the forms, especially the electronic forms through their like e-service systems. They make you fill it out 3 days before. So that's something that you are going to have to do. So that is it for our purposes. And I just want to thank you for watching this video. And I hope this video was informative. And if you want to find out more information and details about other destinations and their customs forms, please visit customsbreeze.com. That's customs, customs, breeze, breeze.com. And please press the like button and subscribe. So see you next time. Bye.